What's that? A story about Americans traveling through Paris? It can't be from Ernest Hemingway, but it is. A Canary for One. Welcome to Strip Cover Look, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Adrian Fort, and we are here for another short story discussion, which will appear in two short story playlists here on the channel. Number one, the short story discussion playlist. Number two, the short story by short story read along through Ernest Hemingway's Finca Vigia edition, short story by short story through that collection. So this video has three sections: a So What Happened recap of the short story, a literary criticism section where we talk about the literary merits and goings on in this text, and finally a writer's corner where we talk about some of the things that we can take away from this story as writers. One big note for writers here. So what happened? Our speaker and his wife are American, and we are on a train in France with a partially deaf woman, also American, who has just paid cash for a canary. The train passes a house fire on the way to Avignon. It was a long ride, but the woman did not sleep. The deaf woman did not sleep because she was afraid by the speed the train was traveling. She bought a bird for her daughter, seemingly trying to make up for taking her daughter away from the man that she loved. The train gets to Paris and everyone gets off. Seems simple enough. So, what's the point? Well, I want to start that discussion with the title itself. When we talk about a short story called A Canary for One, we have to ask the question, for whom is that canary? Well, we are led to believe that the canary is for the deaf woman's daughter, but is it really? It would seem to me that what is most important to that woman is control, being able to control things. And so, having control over that canary and her daughter are prime ideals for that person. And we get a little bit more of this going forward. So, the idea of the bird in the cage. The bird is in the cage. The bird cannot go anywhere that it wants to go. It has to go where that woman wants it to go. Notice how this is representative of the woman's relationship with her daughter. The woman had found herself a husband in Vivi. I don't speak um, whatever language. I don't know. I don't care. Vevey, wherever that is, and whatever language they speak there, the daughter had found a man to marry. And the mother said, "No, you only marry American men. You can only marry an American man. That's the only type of man worth marrying." This way, she still controls her daughter. The idea of marrying an American man is not the prime ideal for her. The idea that she is still controlling her daughter is the prime idea for her. And we get this. Now, I want to jump forward a little bit to C there as opposed to B, because this is a point that goes hand in hand with this. So remember, she could not sleep on the train because she was afraid of how fast they were going. In the very last page, the last few paragraphs of the short story, we get this exchange. "We were passing 3 cars that had been in a wreck. They were splintered open and the roofs sagged in. 'Look,' I said, 'there's been a wreck.' The American lady looked and saw the last car. 'I was afraid of just that all night,' she said. 'I have terrific presentiments about things sometimes. I'll never travel on a rapide again at night. There must be other comfortable trains that don't go that fast.' The bird cannot fly away. The daughter cannot marry away. The trains cannot speed away. Everything has to be within the realm of this woman and her fear." This is an example of a controlling mother. This is an example of someone who is letting fear rule their life. Because fear rules their life, fear has to rule every interaction they have. Fear has to rule every relationship that they have. That bird is not allowed to be free. The daughter is not allowed to be free. Even the goddamn trains are not allowed to be free. They have to go by her fear. Otherwise, she will not play the game. And because she wants her daughter to be within the realm of her game, she simply disallows the daughter from playing other games. The daughter cannot escape. A canary for one. That canary is there for the deaf woman to control. That is what is going on in this story. Everything here, even the house fire. So here, the house fire represents, remember they passed the house fire in the train, and it's all these people in the lawn with all their stuff, and we're kind of left to wonder on a larger sort of realm, why are we being shown a house fire in this short story from Ernest Hemingway that's about these people on a train? Well, it's because that house fire represents the deaf woman's house itself. Her house is on fire. Um, she's everything is asunder around her, and nothing ever gets better. And it doesn't matter to her because she wants to control it all anyway. So, and then the last point here for the literary criticism section. This is further exemplified in this way. The idea that this is the story of the controlling mother. Well, that's a woman's story, right? Not to be sexist, not to be discriminatory, anything like that. That is a woman's story. Just like there's a story about a domineering father, that's a masculine story. This is a feminine story. This is a woman's story. And one of the interesting ways that we get that, the husband in this story basically does not exist. Completely non-existent. No one talks to him. He at the beginning of the story, he talks to the woman, but she's deaf and does not even hear him, right? So he's invisible here. The only things going on are with this deaf woman and his wife. So that is just an interesting way that Hemingway lets us know that this is the woman's story. Now, the writer's corner. Meet in the middle. No, this is not a reference to sexism. What I am talking about here is the fact that this short story is completely worthless without the middle. If you were to read the first few paragraphs and the last few paragraphs, there's nothing there. Absolutely nothing. It's vellum thin. There is nothing interesting there. There is no real good writing there. There are no interesting characters on the page in those first few and last few paragraphs. Absolutely nothing. Everything worth having in this short story is in the middle. Why that is a good thing for a writer to learn is this. If all of your best stuff is on the front end of the story because it's front loaded, because that's how you wrote it, you started off with all of this steam and vigor, and then it piddled out, your reader will feel like they wasted their time. Inversely, if all of the merit to your short story is at the very end, and everything before the last few paragraphs is ridden of worth by those last few paragraphs, your reader feels robbed. I read that whole story, and the last few paragraphs made everything worthless up till then. Everything worth chewing on in this story, the idea of why the house fire means anything, the idea of for whom the canary sings, the idea of being a controlling mother and taking your daughter away from the man who loved her, taking her all the way to a different country, the idea of what type of man is the only type of man worth marrying because and then we don't really get any actual reasons, right? All of that stuff is in the middle of the short story. So we have the ends, the beginning and the end there, to digest it. The beginning eases us into these characters. The middle's where everything's at. The end lets us digest what it was that we just read. Now, Ernest Hemingway, very, very sneaky. So, this short story, if you're not paying attention, will strike you as absolutely worthless regardless. So, yeah, just if you are paying attention, though, if you catch it, it's all in the middle. And that makes it feel like an actual experience for the reader rather than being told something or someone trying to show you something. You're actually there with it because all of the good stuff is in the middle of the story. That is all I have for this short story discussion. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out as it tells YouTube to share this video with other literature lovers. If you find yourself here by chance but not design, literature is the only thing I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week, and I hope to have you back for the next one.